Hey guys, it's Margaret. I hope you guys are ready to get creative today because I have tons of bullet journaling tips and tricks. So each time a new month begins, I always get embarrassingly excited because I love setting up my monthly spreads in my bullet journal. It always allows me to get super creative because each monthly spread is really just a big picture glance of the month, so it's not really detailed. It doesn't have that nitty-gritty information on it, so there's a lot more room for illustrations and doodles and other fun elements. So you can really get your creative on. For the purposes of this video, I'm gonna be starting with the month of October, and then I'm gonna lay out every month until I get to the month of March. But the reason I'm doing that is because you can use the layouts that I'm using for these months interchangeably. You can use the layout for January, for March, or April, whatever you guys want. Also, if you don't like the illustrations that I'm using for a particular layout, you don't have to include them. You can include any illustrations you want on the particular spread that you like. Before we get started, please subscribe to 17's YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on any of our future bullet journaling tips and tricks. Okay, let's get started laying out our monthly spreads. The first month we're gonna be starting with is October. And because it is the first layout of this video, I'm gonna start with a rather minimal design that's easy to master. So I'm gonna keep this design focused on big, bold numbers for each day of the month. The first step is to create the boxes for each day of the month. I made each box 7 by 5, making sure to leave 2 boxes of space in between each box. Next, give each box a drop shadow that's about a half a box thick. Write out the days of the week in tall, skinny letters at the top of each column, then write October in large cursive in the space at the bottom right of the spread. The last step for this layout is to pick a pastel color of your choice and write the numbers in the center of the box. Depending on what type of marker you're using, you're probably gonna need 2 to 3 coats of the marker so that the color is really nice and rich. I usually switch between Tombows and Faber-Castells, but those can get a bit pricey, so feel free to use a lower end marker like Crayola if that's something that you're comfortable with. This is a great spread if you're looking for something that's gonna be a little bit more minimal. It's also a great starting point in your bullet journal because it is so minimal. So you can take the layout and really expand on it and add illustrations and doodles depending on how you feel. Okay, so fair warning. This next monthly spread for November is a little bit more on the complex end and features a lot of nature illustrations. But don't worry if you're not comfortable illustrating because you can always trace images or even paste an image of leaves or nature into the bullet journal. Also, this would be another great spread if you want to use pressed flowers or other actual nature items and paste those into your journal instead of using illustrations. I'll be using what's called a Dutch door treatment for this November spread, and it's really gonna make it feel extra unique and cool. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is create our Dutch door. In order to do this, you're gonna wanna mark a few dots on the right-hand page that are 7 boxes from the right side of the page. Then sketch out a small tab along the line and cut along the same line. As you can see, we've now created our Dutch door, and we'll use the 2 pages behind that door as a place to house all of our necessary information for that month, like appointments, reminders, etc. Now that the door is done, draw a large vertical rectangle in the center of the left-hand page. Inside the rectangle, write out November in a script font and create a small calendar below it. Next, draw a rectangle around the days of the week and color it in using an orangey gold colored marker. Now it's time to make this spread come to life with nature illustrations. I would recommend using a pencil to lightly sketch out the illustrations before outlining with a black pen. I drew several berry branches, pine cones, acorns, mushrooms, and leaves throughout the front cover page of this spread. If you don't care for the theme that I've picked for this month, which is kind of a nature vibe, you can always pick a different grouping of illustrations for your spread. Once you're done penciling and inking the cover page, you're gonna move on to the information page behind the Dutch door. You're going to begin by making 4 long horizontal boxes that stretch the entire width of the spread, but making sure to only draw the top and bottom lines of each. On the left side, you're going to write goals, tasks, appointments, and reminders, and draw a box around each. Finish off that side of the box by drawing 2 vertical lines connecting the labeled boxes to the larger horizontal box. On the right side of the long horizontal boxes, you're going to draw an acorn and connect them to the rest of the box the same way as you did on the left side of the page. The last step for this layout is to color in all of the illustrations on the front cover page as well as the acorns on the second page. I would recommend using warm pink, oranges, and greens, but feel free to use whatever colors you'd like. You did it! Give yourself a huge pat on the back for finishing this awesome Dutch door treatment. You can now use this layout for any monthly spread and it will amaze all of your friends. This December layout is gonna be a breeze compared to the last layout I showed you. This design will be great for a big picture view along with a couple spaces to write down your tasks and reminders. This spread also features illustrations in the corners of the page, but it's also a great layout if you want to include pressed flowers or any found nature items that you like. To begin, you're going to create a calendar on the right-hand page. You're going to make the entire calendar 28 by 30, giving each box a dimension of 4 boxes wide and 5 boxes tall. Make sure to leave some room at the bottom right of the page for the illustrations you'll be drawing in the corners of each page. I then wrote the number of the day of the week very small in the bottom right corner. Write the 3-letter abbreviation for each day of the week 2 boxes above each column of the calendar. Next, on the left-hand page, you're going to create 2 large boxes, each with a dimension of 11 by 11. Next, write December in a whimsical script font, but don't finish the left side of the D. The last step for this spread will be to draw your winter flowers. I put a poinsettia, berries, and some fir tree branches in each of the corners on the left page and the bottom right corner on the right page. Color in each using warm, rich pinks and greens. One tip I've discovered ever since I started bullet journaling is a super easy way to make any spread look more minimal is to not color in your illustrations. So if that sounds like you and you like more minimal things, simply draw out your illustrations but just leave them in black and white and voila, your spread looks more minimal. Moving right along to January. This layout is going to be something that you're probably not used to seeing in a monthly spread. It's going to be more like a timeline setup rather than a calendar setup. This spread is especially great for any person who likes to visualize the order of events happening that month versus a big picture calendar view. And because it's so easy and fast, you can focus all of your attention on the doodles and illustrations. First, write the numbers 1 through 31 down the center of the right-hand page and write the first letter of the day of the week to the left of each number. Then, draw a rectangle around all of the numbers and letters and color it in using a yellow marker. To use this page, just draw a line coming from each day of the week that you'd like to record the information for. Then, draw a box at the end of the line and write down what event, reminder, task, or goal you have for that day. When you're done recording the information, the page should resemble a timeline. Now onto the fun part. What better way to depict January than to draw fireworks for arguably the most fun time of the year, New Year's? First, write January and then draw fireworks, making sure to fill up every nook and cranny of the left-hand page. Fireworks are great doodles for beginners who aren't comfortable with their drawing skills because they're super forgiving, so even if you make mistakes, they're still gonna look beautiful. The very last step for this spread will be to add highlights to the fireworks using yellow, blue, and pink markers. Now on to February. For this layout, I'm gonna do something I don't normally do in these videos, and that is to turn the journal 90 degrees clockwise so that you're looking at the pages horizontally versus vertically. The bottom page is where we're gonna draw the February calendar, and then we're gonna surround it completely with several strings of lanterns. This is definitely an illustration-heavy spread, but don't worry, I'm gonna take you through it step by step. First, let's draw our calendar on the bottom page by letting each day of the week be a box that's 5 boxes wide and tall. Next, create a thin box at the top of each column that's 1 box tall and spans the width of the column. Write the day of the week in each of the thin boxes. Then, number each of the boxes in the bottom right corner with the number of the day of the week. Now, on the top page, we're going to write February in a large script font. Then, draw a box directly below it that is 16 boxes long and 10 boxes tall, and label this box Reminders. Now we're gonna get started drawing our lanterns. I'm gonna draw my lanterns one way, but feel free to draw your lanterns in any shape and size you want. The easiest thing to do first is draw the strings that the lanterns will be hanging from. I drew several across the page and some that intersected each other. Next, I started drawing lanterns of varying heights, shapes, and sizes. I made some rectangular, some spherical, and some with wonky shapes. I made sure all of the lanterns had strings hanging from the bottom of them and gave a few of them various patterns, like stripes, polka dots, or diagonal lines. You can also try making lanterns that have several hanging shapes and rectangular tops and bottoms. There really isn't a correct way to draw the lanterns as long as it looks like it's hanging from one of the strings that you drew. So like I said before, feel free to draw them in any shape and size that you want that fits your aesthetic. The very last thing for you to do is color in your lanterns. After finishing this spread, you can give yourself your second pat on the back of the day because you finished the 2 most challenging designs of this video. For our 6th and final monthly spread, we're gonna be designing a spread for March featuring lots of hanging plants. For this spread, we're gonna be giving each day of the month its own box that's separate from the rest. And instead of writing the number at the top, we're actually gonna write it on the side. Step 1 is to draw a box for each day of the month that is 6 by 6, making sure to not complete the left side of the box. Leave 2 boxes open on the left side of the box for the number of the day of the month. After you're done with the boxes, write the number of the day of the month in the open space towards the left of each box. Draw a large rectangle that spans the length of the calendar and is about 3 boxes tall. Leave the left side of the box open so that you can write notes in it and then complete the box. Now, write March in a large script font vertically in the open space towards the left of the calendar. Finish off the calendar by writing the day of the week above each column in cursive. Now we're gonna start drawing our hanging plants, and I'm also featuring a bunch of different sizes of terrariums. And again, if you're not comfortable drawing these doodles, you can always paste the image right into your bullet journal, trace it, or just flat out draw other doodles that you're more comfortable drawing. To draw the hanging plants, I first sketched them out in light pencil and then outlined them with my black micron. I then colored them in using a rich brown marker and several shades of green markers. Finish off this spread by drawing a green circle over each number of the day of the month using a light lime green marker. We did it! You just completed 6 different monthly spreads. I'd say that makes you guys bullet journal kings and queens. You've mastered all sorts of layouts, illustrations, fonts, you name it. And not to mention created 6 masterpieces that you can show off to all your friends. Comment below which spread was your favorite and which one you want to use stat in your bullet journal. And before you go, make sure you subscribe to 17's YouTube channel so that you can get more bullet journaling tips, tricks, and inspiration. See you next week.